Well, hello there. This is Blair, also known as Lavahanye. Well, I wanted to try something a little bit different. Always wanted to do some sort of video commentary, and I thought maybe I'd try it over this little concept piece I'm doing of my character, Errol here. And the commentaries, I'm likely going to just be speaking over a speed drawing of some sort and just discussing the design and my process and some things about the characters. And I think that I want them to be viewable by the public and not just my patrons. But I think I'm wanting the patrons to have a choice of giving me ideas of things to cover. But just let me know if this is interesting, and maybe I'll do a little bit more like this. Alright, so who I'm drawing today is my character, Errol Vecera. He is half elf, half human, and he is also a demigod. And I guess I should probably explain a few things about how gods and demis work in his universe. And well, gods in his universe are not like traditional gods where there's just one dude who just kind of rules over a certain thing since the beginning of time. Gods in this universe all were once mortal at some point and are chosen based on their life experience. Gods are often killed by other gods, or some might even off themselves, and then in time another god will be chosen. For example, if the god of war dies somehow, eventually another one will be chosen if he meets the requirements. Demis aren't created the traditional way either, where typically they are just half god and half human. While those type of demis do exist in this world, they are also severely underpowered compared to their counterparts, which, for lack of better term, I just call them double demis. And what that is two gods who got together and had a child, and they are just demis. Gods cannot create another god. They always come out demi, but double demis are just more powerful as they receive a trait from each of their parents, while just a demi that is human and god only gets one trait, so they're not as strong. And I guess I should also explain that demis do have the ability to kill other gods, so a bad demi can be, pretty problematic. But anyway, in Errol's case, he's good. You don't have to worry about him going and killing other gods or anything like that. And his mother is an elf. She's a eccentric sort of lady. Her name is Olethriel. And she is the goddess of the psyche and emotions. While his father, he is an Educarian man called Ivan Vecera, and he is the god of will and luck, and he runs a pretty large mercenary band called Red Revelry. Errol physically takes after his father the most, who, as I mentioned before, is an Educarian, and I guess I should explain a little bit about an Educarian and who they are and what they look like. Educarians are from a country called Educar, and by design they are all meant to look Mediterranean. So I don't know, maybe you guys have noticed, but he has, Errol has olive skin and general Mediterranean features. He looks Spanish, and that is very intentional, as that's what those people look like. So, it kind of looks like a Spanish elf. Not only do the people of Educar look Mediterranean, Educar itself also generally feels very Mediterranean. I've put a lot of influences from those countries. Mainly, it'll probably feel more Spanish and Italian, but there's some Greek in there too. And maybe a hint of Turkish, but really it's just Mediterranean, just mishmashed together, and that's pretty much Educar. Maybe I'll go more into them some other time. So anyway, back on the subject, what I am creating here for Errol are his mercenary clothes for Red Revelry. As I explained before, Red Revelry is a mercenary group ran by his father, Vecera. What Red Revelry does is, well, they kill monsters. Most of their jobs is just taking care of, nasty critters. David Larian, which is the continent that Red Revelry, is pretty much centralized in, is a continent pretty much full of like really vicious monsters. That's really like the main issue there, and some of their main targets are minotaurs, lizardmen, and griffins. And griffins tend to be especially problematic, but minotaurs are probably the worst, as they're more sentient. I don't know how to explain it, but they have motives. They don't like humans, and they're just a general hateful species of creature. But anyway, I wanted to create something for him that looked light but very proficient and pretty decently armored. In an MMO or a game or something, he would likely probably be classed as a rogue type. And what he does, he uses a single pretty large dagger. He doesn't do the double dagger thing. That's something that his father does. But he's a very close range fighter. I guess you can think more like an MMA fighter. Very grapply, or however you say it. I guess that would explain why his build is kind of rather large. He needs to have that strength to take things out at close range. So he's got this strong upper body, strong legs, and generally he just looks pretty, just kind of heavy enough to do what he has to do. As far as color choices, I tried to stay neutral. I didn't want him to just kind of stand out too much like a sore thumb. Part of his job is actually blending in. He's used a lot as a scout because he's just good at blending in. He's good with people. He knows how to speak to them, and he knows how to get the information he needs out of people. So he needs to not look threatening. He needs to not look too threatening. He needs to not look too goofy or anything. He just needs to look solid. And also that little drawing I was doing there of his back, probably obvious that was a pistol. Yes, he carries a little pistol, and firearms are Edricar's main product, and I haven't decided exactly how far in the technology it is. I know it's probably not crazy far, but at the very most, he might be just carrying a single shot pistol. So I guess as this video comes to a close, I can just discuss some little tidbits about Errol. For one, he is ambidextrous, and that probably comes in super handy given his fighting style. My cat is over here meowing. I'm sorry, I can't cut it out. He does have command over magic. He isn't specially trained in it, but he does know enough to help him out in a pinch. A little fireball here, a little healing spell there, or whatever. Now, about his demi powers, Errol can read minds, but it can be pretty exhausting for him. He can also see into people's memories, but it's not something he can do on the fly. It takes a lot of concentration and would require his target to either be subdued in some way, or they gave him special permission to do so. Memories with intense emotions have the potential to give him seizures. So it's a pretty dangerous technique, but obviously it'd be pretty useful for interrogating, which is another reason why he'd be used for scouting. He also has the ability to alter people's emotions for a short time. So, if someone's angry, he can lighten their mood and make them easier to deal with. Or he can frenzy a crowd and make them go crazy or whatever. So, well, I am nearing the end of this video. I like for them not to be too far over the 10-minute mark, But if you guys find things like this interesting, please let me know. Better yet, become a patron on my Patreon and help me out with topics. Start me some support so maybe in the future I can produce longer videos so I can cram in more information. That is, if that's something you all would like. But anyway, thanks so much for listening and talk to you all again soon.